Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Hey.
Can you hear
Hi,
me?
everybody. Welcome back to another episode of a long distance Find Your Beach. Andy is still in London. I'm in New York. I'm feeling a lot better. My voice still sounds like shit, but I'm on the mend.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel pretty good. How are you doing, Andy?
Um, good. I'm great. I'm
Are
I'm
you
not
sure?
I'm not in London. Um,
Right, you're in
but
Crawley.
I'm in creepy Crawley, and can you hear me all right? Does my voice sound good?
Your voice sounds good.
Okay. Um, yeah, I'm about 30 miles south of London, and it's a town of
In
really
Crawley.
Crawley. Not much is going on here. Um,
How would you
but it's,
describe it? Like the people.
I mean, the people are very working class. It's pretty diverse. It's got a large South Asian population and a lot of just English whites. I don't know how you would. I don't know the word for them.
Your
There's some
people.
uh, there's some kind of scraggly
Our
looking.
people, I guess you would
Yeah, there's
say.
some scraggly people looking around town. There's some real. It's just working class. There's not a lot going on. I don't know. It's So what I found out is like working class is like the same thing as we would call working class in the US, but middle class is what you call everybody who is doing well but isn't like a Rockefeller. So middle class is actually like kind of rich here.
Okay. I
And
think
then upper class is like your dad is an earl.
got it. Got it. Okay. Your royalty.
So you're actually like you're kind of upper class. I'm middle class.
I see. I see. And I think, yeah, that makes sense. If you have a queen, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, they
if you
still
have
got
a
a queen.
queen reigning over you, then, they know the meaning of upper class and
Um
it's lives in a castle.
yeah. I I would say it's a nice town. I haven't seen anything. It's like any area near an airport, you know?
Wow.
There's
Can
there's
I
a
be
town.
honest with you?
Yeah.
You're not selling it.
There's not a lot to sell. Except this football club that I'm working for day and night trying to make a success. But I went today. I So our hotel is kind of located like next to the confluence of a few roads, and you have to walk across multiple intersections, like basically like each thing that goes into this circle. And
Mm.
I always don't. I'm never sure that I'm looking the right way. I'm always terrified to cross the street because I've gotten too close to stepping into looking the wrong way. And then
Mm-hmm.
so I walk a couple blocks. I get to this big kind of strip mall thing. Looks like the U.S. It's like they got a big IMAX theater thing, and upstairs there's a Starbucks. That's the closest Starbucks to me. And I get to the Starbucks, and I'm like, "Hi, I would like a cold brew." And they're like, "We don't have coffee, mate." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can make you." I don't know. I'm Australian. Maybe I'm on a work visa. But he's like, "I can make you a coffee frappuccino. That's the only coffee we have. There's beans everywhere. There's multiple coffee machines." And I'm like, "What about the drip coffee?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's all broken." And I'm like, "Well, the espresso machine's broken, but what about that?" And they're like, "Mate, we don't have coffee." And I'm like, "All right, cool. I'll have a breakfast sandwich with no coffee." So that was, you know, it's kind of it's kind of silly. It's kind of a silly place. There's like a
Was
sad
that a silly story? Is that that's what you were going for with that?
would be like going to Blockbuster and they're like, "We don't have videos, mate." And you're like, "I I can see the videos." And they're like, "Yeah, we don't know how to open the
They're all
boxes."
broken.
Yeah, they're all, "Well, we don't have the little thing that opens the boxes." And you're like, "Well, just open them." And they're like, can't. I don't know what to do.
We can smash up a video in a blender and give it to you.
Yeah.
We could blend up a video for you. You can drink it on your way home.
We could send you a GIF. You want a GIF?
How's the job going?
It's good. I think like
Last I spoke to you, you had a very important dinner and you said it went really well with the owners.
Mhm.
And you were in a very fancy restaurant with velvet chairs.
Yeah, it was the kind of restaurant where it was 8 courses and 4 of those courses were dessert. That was pretty crazy.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What did you get for your first 4 courses?
Well, obviously they started with bread and butter, and the butter had the little logo of the restaurant minted on it. And
nice.
then I think the first thing was like a spear of asparagus with 2 morel mushrooms, like a garnish of dill or something, and then like 3 or 4 dabs of different sauces. It looked like art.
It was just art.
Yeah, I can show you. And then
no, I don't need
like,
to see it. You just literally painted a picture for me. But
I'll show you.
I don't need to see it. It's a podcast, Andy. Yeah, that's art. That's exactly what I pictured in my head when you were describing it.
Well, now you've seen it.
Okay. No one else has, but let's move on.
This is a video podcast.
What's the next course? Also, you counted bread and butter as a course, which doesn't count as a course.
Well, I just was saying they started. There was black cod fritters, salt cod fritters, like bacalao fritters. There was a soup of some sort, and then there was halibut with other shit on the plate, like
so tons of fish.
Well, they only had 2 options. They had meat or fish.
Oh, that's what the menu said?
It was a tasting menu, so you just got to pick like one or the other. I probably could have picked veg as they call it, but I didn't. And then the desserts were like a cheese plate was the first dessert, and then the second thing was like a house-made kind of like chocolate cup thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was wild honey, which is the name of the restaurant, ice cream, where they brought in a honeycomb from the honey hive on the roof, and they carved a little piece of honey out of the honeycomb and put it on your ice cream. That's
so awesome. You shared a picture of that on your socials.
Yeah, I felt like a goddamn king. It was great, but I drank too many. Like I was just like in the zone, so I was like, give me more espresso. So I had 2 espressos, and then I got back to my hotel and I was just awake for 4 hours. It was great.
Oh no. You were also exhausted that night. But are you enjoying like working there? How's it going?
I love it. It's just I don't think we know exactly, like we're aiming for visibility and finding a way in, and we've just kind of been deciding what that looks like. And I think we're there now, and now I have to kind of like set up all the channels and make sure that people like hire the right people to do those things.
Yeah.
And then kind of figure out from there. But it's like hard because one aspect of this is that there's like a soccer team and football club, and the football club has their own social media team and their own voice and all their own stuff. And then there's the ownership group, which is an NFT investment platform. And that's all kind of like, and they're not
making any effort to mix those together.
They are, but they're not at all the same audiences. So you kind of have to like figure out a way to appeal to both. And
right.
It's just it's a weird thing to kind of navigate.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it.
Well, I'm glad you seem so thrilled.
Well, it's 11:30 here, so I'm a little more burnout.
I know.
But I'm shooting like a documentary tomorrow about a super fan. I shot an interview on Friday with the new coach. I'm going to shoot just a bunch of like social videos for the rest of the week.
That's great.
And then
Do you want
next
to
week,
plug? Do you want to plug it on this podcast, the channels?
well, right now it's just Crawley Town FC, but there will be a Wag Me United.
Okay. So then
Yeah.
they should wait to follow that.
Yeah, wait till Wednesday maybe when I get
Okay.
everything kind of.
Well, I've been having a fucking great time. I'm like on day 5 of my personal summer vacay, and I'm having a great fucking time. I'm
Yeah.
like, I haven't left the house except to the first I stayed inside for 4 days and I just chilled. And then I went to last night I went out for my friend Sam, our friend Sam, her fiance's birthday. We went on a big ass boat.
Yeah.
And we found this like corner of the boat, all of our friends, and it was like this quiet corner of the boat, and we just like played music and hung out together and made fun of each other, and that was really fun. And then came back here and we all watched the Anthony Bourdain documentary, which is like, I've never been into Anthony Bourdain. I was never really into his stuff, and everybody was like, oh, you would love him because he's a drug addict. And I was like, yeah, I'm not, it's not like selling it for me. Because people always, when you're an addict, they're always like, oh, you would love this guy, he's an addict. And you're like, that doesn't mean I would love them, you know? But this was really interesting because they talked, I don't know, he was like, this one scene really struck me. He's like, they have footage from the 90s because I guess he was being documented even way before they started actually filming a show.
Back when he was like a
And
crack addict.
before he even wrote his book, and he was, they were filming him, and they have video of him getting the call from his publisher being like, you have a New York Times bestseller, when he wrote Kitchen Confidential. And you see his face. This is 10 years after he's gotten clean from heroin. And you see his face get this really great life-changing news. And he's not like jumping around. It really just reminded me of like what it feels like for, when you're a comic and then something good happens in your career.
Yeah.
And you don't jump up and down. You don't get excited. You don't really even trust it. And that was the thing that really struck me, because he goes, I don't trust anything that happens outside of those doors. And he's pointing outside of his kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, God, he's so right.
Yeah.
And B, it was like a wave that he had to ride. You know what I mean? Like, he had this book, it sold out, and his whole fucking life changed. And he was out on the road. And then he has a kid, and you see him like wanting to be a dad and wanting to be home, and then wanting to be out on the road and wanting to be filming his show. And it's like this constant push pull of anybody who's like an artist or who lives like sort of a different kind of life, and the constant feeling of missing out on one thing or the other,
Yeah.
like that I just started feeling, but that is a very real thing. Like, I'm constantly feeling like, oh, should we have a kid? Should we do this? Should we have, should we be spending more time together as a family? Should we? And yet, if we were doing that, I know for a fact I would be like, oh, I miss the road. I miss doing stand up. I miss being able to pick up and take off and do whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's just a really moving portrait of a guy who is kind of that was the thing that pulled me towards it. Was I was like, oh, this is like kind of the struggle that I'm going through internally at the moment, which I wouldn't even, it's sort of dramatic to call it a struggle because it's not. I mean, I
Yeah, are
don't
you
have
going
to
through a
choose.
struggle?
No,
You got
but
flowers. What are the flowers?
sort of an internal debate,
Who sent you flowers?
I bought flowers for the apartment.
I swear to God, if I find this guy,
Yeah.
I'm gonna kick his ass.
Well, you're gonna have to
No,
kick my ass.
I have a similar, like, I definitely like had a lot of, like, I constantly want to go on trips and wander, but at the same time I'm like, I really want routine and structure.
Right.
Not the same exactly, but I did have like a very similar like attic moment this week, which was I got paid. I'm getting paid for this job in 2 lump sums, and they paid me my first lump sum, and I like woke up Thursday morning and I saw the lump sum, and I was like, yes. And then I immediately like paid rent, paid off a credit card, put money in savings, paid a couple other credit cards down. Like 2/3 of the payment was gone immediately. And then I like looked at it and I was like, it's gone. I couldn't emotionally understand. I was like feeling so good while I was paying those things off. And then I was like, oh man, it's all gone. Like just
Right.
immediately.
Yeah.
So that was humbling. But I literally like I
I
couldn't
know.
understand.
Money disappears very quickly when you spend it,
I know, but I couldn't, like, I was like,
even
I
on
just,
stuff you don't like.
paying off debt sucks because you have all this money and you're like, look at me, big stepper. And then all of a sudden it's gone. And you're like, well,
Yeah.
that wasn't fun. I don't have
Yeah.
a new pair of shoes.
Yeah. I didn't even I didn't get to take a helicopter ride.
I'm gonna take a selfie with my credit card bills for now on when I'm paying them off.
Yeah. Good idea. Great idea. Put all your info out there.
I'm gonna take a picture of my social security number and our
Yeah.
address.
Good.
I I did, the one crazy thing about Crawley is that, so Crawley, you take the train, it takes about an hour to get into the city. You don't usually have to change trains, but then you have to change to like whatever subway you have to get on or bus. And London is set up in such a way, there's so many fucking trains that, imagine if there was like 9 Grand Centrals. There's like 9 Grand
Yeah.
Centrals, and each of those Grand Centrals might go to where you're going. Like it's fucking insane. And so, and the trains are fucking expensive. It's like $40 round trip to go back and forth. And
Jesus.
I got, the other night, it was like too late. I was gonna have to wait like 2 hours at the train station and then like catch an hour train. So I caught an Uber home. And London is like the size of the, like the boroughs of New York and maybe like parts of Jersey. It's so fucking big, but there's no freeways in or out of it. So when you go from the center of London to anywhere outside of London, it literally takes a fucking hour, like an hour on surface streets where they drive on the wrong side of the road. And then you get to a freeway and you drive
Well,
15 minutes at 80 miles an hour.
right. Well, that sucks.
Somebody
But
just knocked
somebody just knocked.
on my wall. I guess I was being too loud. So we'll just
Because
talk,
you were talking too loud.
I guess.
You were barely talking loudly. I mean, truly, your voice almost put me to sleep.
I thank you. I'm not in the nicest hotel. Crawley doesn't have a lot to offer. So
That's okay. That's all right. I went to go see a play today.
yeah, you saw American Buffalo.
I did. And I I don't think I'm as intelligent a theater goer as I once was, because I really loved it. And I truly am just the most giant closeted dork about theater. And I went to go see it. I was so excited. Sam Rockwell, Lawrence Fishburne. Are you kidding me? And I walked out and I went, that was so good. And I was really locked in the entire time. And I don't know what that was about. Like, I don't know what the point of that play was. Like,
Okay.
they're fighting the whole time about, I mean, the dialogue is so, David Mamet is like one of my favorite playwrights, because his dialogue is, it's so quick and natural, and they talk over each other, and it's written that way, so you know how intensely a character is feeling about something, because they're talking over the person that they're talking to, you know?
Yeah.
And so he's able to like write this spirited debate. And every one of these characters, and there's only three characters. They're planning a robbery, which I mean, I'm spoiling it, but they're planning a robbery that never happens. And there's a gun on the table for like half of the second act. And you're like, is somebody going to use this gun? And nobody ever does. And you're like, you're just so, it gives you an idea of like what a great writer he is, that you're that into it and nothing is fucking happening. Like, you're just like, what if this happens?
David Mamet was the first podcaster. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I think I want to go see more plays this summer. I'm trying to like, I mean, maybe I'm just getting kind of manic in my 1 week off, but I'm like, I want to do things that make me smarter.
Yeah.
I've been reading Joan Rivers' first book, Enter Talking. And that's been really cool, because I'm just like, it's inspiring me to like write about stuff that I wouldn't normally write about.
Like what?
Well, it reminded me of like this, my parents had this, like, I was the first one. I guess they were the first in their group of friends to have a kid, and they never really like, they never really, you could tell by the way that they moved that they were just planning on like making me part of their lifestyle. You know what I mean? They weren't planning on changing their lifestyle at all. Like, they would bring me to bars and they would bring me to concerts, and like nowhere was inappropriate. And there's this video where they got a cabin with some of their friends. And this is like one of the earliest home movies I've seen. And I guess somebody had the idea to make a silent movie, and all the women were playing like prairie women in this silent movie. They're on the porch and they're like miming like darning socks and knitting and like churning butter and like rocking me back and forth. And then it like cuts to my dad and all of his friends like twirling their cartoon mustaches, like they're playing like cartoon villains in the woods.
Okay.
And they're like hatching a plan to like steal me, like steal the baby. And I'm truly a newborn, like an amoebic like blob of a person. And so they're like twisting their mustaches and like shooting guns in the air and drinking whiskey, and then they run in and they steal the baby from all the women. And the next shot is of my dad and all of his friends. My dad is standing in a boat, a tiny boat in the middle of a lake, holding me, drinking whiskey. and all the women are on the shore just like incurably sad, like gesticulating wildly that they are so sad, you know? And like that's the whole movie. But I wouldn't have like thought about that like if I wasn't reading this book that Joan wrote where she's talking about her parents and like their bond and like what they were like, her earliest memories, you know?
Yeah.
And it just made me think about that because I was like, my earliest memories, I don't remember, but I remember seeing that and thinking, oh my God, it was the first time that I ever saw my parents. This sounds so sad, but it was the first time I ever saw like why my parents loved each other.
Mm.
You know, like they were fun. They had like a fun marriage. They made each other laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just kind of like, I don't know. I was just like, oh, it put a lot of pieces together for me because I never really understood why my parents were together because they always seemed so different.
That's such a crazy video to make as just
You
like
know,
lawyers and their wives.
but they weren't then. My dad wasn't a lawyer then.
What was he?
You know, he was nothing. He was, I mean, he had graduated from law school and he wanted to be an environmental lawyer. And, you know, my mom was a painter and that's it. They were just in their mid 20s. They were just fucking kids.
So weird.
Yeah.
If we made that video when we have a kid, if we have a kid, we will not do that because we'll be 45. I'll be 45 and I'll be like, nah, I'm not making the bandit video. No thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
My back hurts.
I mean, they like, it's cool though to see. I don't know. I'm the only one who was born into that, you know,
yeah.
of all my sisters. Like, I'm the only one who got to be born to like two wild kids. And I think it shows.
So funny also to think that your dad was like probably drunk while they were making that. Like your parents were very
They were both
obvious.
hammered.
They were hammered and they're just holding a baby in the boat.
Yeah. Just standing in a fucking rickety boat in the middle of a lake. And like all his friends are like rowing away and like laughing. It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a bunch of pictures of my parents drunk and not really with me, but like they always are smoking indoors, which is really funny to me. They're just like smoking in our house. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You dirtbags.
I know. Now it's like you see somebody smoking in your house, you start to make assumptions about the tax bracket they're living in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You either are very rich and foreign or you just got here.
Or you were born here and you just never you just live in a fucking trailer park.
Or you just got divorced.
Or
Yeah.
you're addicted to nicotine. Or there's that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, you have to go to bed soon. So do you want to answer a quick bad advice question before I let you go?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So here we go. I have a 4-month-old and I'm planning to move to Japan for my wife's job for a few years. Good idea or not? None of us know Japanese, but we do like raw fish. Need bad advice only. Thanks. 4-month-old moving to Japan for his wife's job for a few years. I think that's fucking cool.
I think you do it. I think you do it and you
actually you raise the child to never learn Japanese.
Yeah.
You
That's a
raise the
great idea.
child, you only teach the child English, which is obviously going to be easier for you because you don't know Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And your child grows up with very little social skills.
You also only feed them American food. You
Only American food,
you raise them.
burgers and fries.
You're like, oh, we're actually not allowed to eat that. So when they grow up and they're like the first time they go out and somebody offers them food, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't eat that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
then
you got, I mean, he
also,
said he said he likes raw fish. There's going to be none of that.
mhm,
You know what I mean? If it's going to be hard for your kid, make it hard for yourself. You know,
yeah,
you guys
you're
are all
not
in
allowed
this
to learn
together.
Japanese either.
Right.
And also, get the baby tattooed. Get the baby completely tattooed like a Yakuza foot soldier.
Yeah. Gigantic. I was thinking actually gigantic American flag all over its back.
Carps, though, carps that make up the koi fish that make up the American flag.
What?
Koi fish,
Yeah.
and somehow the koi fish make up the American flag.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Koi fish with just red, white, and blue, star spangled koi fish.
I'm trying to make it easy on the artist, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But also, you do have the potential to overfeed your baby, just feed and feed and feed it,
Yeah.
and then make it a sumo wrestler.
The first American sumo wrestler.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we just gave you the best advice there was.
Yeah.
So you're welcome. Good luck to you and your wife and your child in Japan. That's very exciting. I think Andy's going to try to move me out to London, which I'm not totally against.
Crawley. I'm going to try to move you out to one of the most boring towns in England.
No, I'm not doing that. No, thank you. All right, we have one more.
Okay.
Can we do one more?
Yeah.
Okay, hi guys. I need your advice. I keep having dreams that my boyfriend is cheating on me with ex-friends of my past. He has never even met these women, and we live multiple states away. Do you think my brain's trying to tell me something? Most of these women are friends who are now enemies. It just adds insult to injury. Help me.
Well, dreams are like a dreams are based in reality. There's some basis,
No,
and
there's not.
he's
No.
he's definitely cheating on you with all of those women. And
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't think dreams are any kind of indication that your boyfriend is cheating on you at all. That being said, he is cheating,
mhm.
and you should be mad at him
And confront him,
and confront him, you know,
but
because
do it
he's
in
already done it.
do it in a cinematic way. Like just enter breaking.
Yeah. Walk into the house, wipe everything off a table.
Yeah.
Knock some chairs over,
Mm-hmm.
break a lamp,
Yeah.
smash a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, that's 7 years of herpes for you.
Ooh. 7 years of herpes.
And that is the title of my memoir. Andy, I'm gonna let you go because you're tired.
I'm
But
sorry.
thanks.
I felt guilty because the person knocked, so I was trying to be quiet.
It's okay. Thank you for podcasting so late.
It's okay. I love you.
I love you too, and I miss you.
I miss you so much, and we love all of you.
Yeah, thanks guys for listening. I will be on the road with Chelsea Handler this week. Or this weekend. I'm sorry, this weekend. I'll be in Port Chester, New York with her on the 16th. Hang on a second. I will check the dates right now. Hang on. I know you guys are driving or whatever you're doing, and I know you're busy, and I know you don't have time for me to fucking stall like this, but here we go. I will be on the road with Chelsea Handler the 16th and 17th in Port Chester, New York, and then Springfield, Massachusetts on the 18th, and Detroit on the 19th. So if you live in any of those cities, you can come see me open for Chelsea, and then the rest of my shit is on my website. I think. No, it's not. I really need to update that fucking thing. But whatever, we're getting to it.
And I'll be at Zany's the 14th through the 16th in Chicago, Illinois. So check the calendar there. I think I'll update my link tree or whatever. And otherwise, wash your hands.
Don't lick your lover's eyes.
And don't spit in their mouth unless it's a committed
monogamous relationship. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.